The Hawk of Haldenridge, a legacy written in shadows. The city of Haldenridge awoke under a dim pearl-gray dawn, its cobblestone streets still shimmering after the night's rain. The rooftops glowed faintly, as if the whole city had been carved out of a forgotten legend. Among its countless twisting alleys stood an ancient estate, Verrenholt Manor, a fortress of stone wrapped in history and whispers. For 73 years, its crest, a silver hawk soaring above 3 stars, had been a symbol of an unbroken dynasty, until the day that dynasty cracked. Far from the grandeur of Haldenridge, in a small workshop that smelled of gasoline and metal, Elden Hale, a modest mechanic with calloused hands and quiet eyes, was tightening the last bolt of an old cargo hover. His life was simple: fix machines, stay out of trouble, keep his thoughts to himself. But that morning, the universe stepped into his life with a thundering knock. 2 men in dark, tailored coats pushed into the workshop. "Elden Hale, that's me. You need to come with us, now." They didn't threaten him, they didn't explain, but Elden felt something shift in the air, a pressure he couldn't name. He wiped his hands on his shirt and followed them, unaware he was walking straight into a truth buried for decades. When the massive iron gates of Verrenholt Manor opened before him, Elden felt smaller than ever. Inside, the air smelled of old marble, polished wood, and legacy. Lord Arcturus Verrenholt, the last of the old patriarchs, had died 3 days earlier, and with his death came a stunning revelation. The entire Verrenholt fortune, the estate, the companies, the power, everything, had been left to Elden Hale, a man who had never even owned a new pair of boots. The room erupted, gasps, fury, disbelief, because Elden wasn't just a mechanic. He was Arcturus's hidden firstborn son. Among the gathered family stood Cassandra Verrenholt, elegant, sharp-minded, eyes like glass hiding storms. And beside her, her older brother Ronan, 32, tall, dangerous in his silence, the kind of man who had been raised his whole life believing everything here would one day belong to him. He stared at Elden the way a wolf stares at a rival entering its territory. "You don't belong here," Ronan whispered later, catching Elden alone in the cedar garden. "I never asked to belong," Elden replied, though the truth trembled in his voice. Lightning cracked the sky that night. Thunder rolled across the manor like a warning. Elden, unable to sleep in the suffocating luxury of his guest room, wandered the endless hallways lined with portraits of ancestors who felt like strangers. Then he heard it, a gasp, a struggle, a sharp cry. He rushed toward the west wing and pushed open a hidden door. Inside, Cassandra was on the floor, breath shaking, eyes wide with fear. Ronan towered over her, face contorted, knife glinting in his hand. Ronan growled, "Not him, never him." "Ronan, stop," Cassandra cried. But anger, years of pressure, jealousy, expectation, had broken something inside him. When Elden stepped forward, Ronan turned. Lightning lit the room, carving Ronan's shadow across the wall like a monstrous silhouette. For one frozen second, everything held still. Then Ronan lunged. Elden grabbed his arm. Cassandra screamed. The knife clattered to the floor. Ronan crashed into an antique shelf, glass shattering around him. The guards burst in just as Ronan collapsed to his knees, shaking with a mixture of rage and despair. Cassandra fell into Elden's arms, breath trembling. The hawk crest glimmered above them on the wall, and Elden finally understood the cost of a legacy he'd never wanted. The next morning was quiet, washed in gentle sunlight as though the storm had never existed. Ronan was taken away, not imprisoned, but treated. His wounds were deeper than anyone had been willing to admit. Cassandra avoided everyone except Elden. At the final reading of the will, Elden stood before the council. His voice was calm, grounded, not like a man claiming power, but like someone finally learning who he truly was. "I don't want control," he said. "I want to rebuild what's broken, together." He turned to Cassandra, her eyes softening for the first time, unguarded. Months passed. The manor transformed. Elden brought humility and skill. Cassandra brought intelligence and grace. Together, they restored the estate, not into a throne of power, but into a home. One early summer morning, Cassandra found Elden in the garden, sleeves rolled up, repairing a transport hover with grease smudged on his cheek. "You still fix things," she teased. "Some things," Elden said, meeting her eyes, "are worth fixing." Her smile was small but real. A hawk circled above them, gliding in a perfect arc before disappearing into the golden sky, like a blessing from the legacy that had once threatened to devour them. And the story of the mechanic who became heir and the woman who chose to believe in him became the newest legend of Haldenridge, not because of power, not because of blood, but because two hearts rebuilt what history had shattered.